This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by HostGator Web Hosting. It's web hosting completely powered by green energy. Coming up on Destructoid, Operation Moonfall is underway. Ubisoft defends their DRM and, 3DS owners, Nintendo wants you to suck it. All this and more coming up on Destructoid. Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Friday, man.
You always say that every day of the week. Happy
Well,
Friday.
you know, it's
Happy
always a
Wednesday.
happy day.
Monday.
Well-
This week has just flown by for me because I woke up on Wednesday and I spent about the whole morning thinking it was Monday.
I do that constantly. Yeah.
Well,
not very much fun.
It's a good thing we don't do a job that requires any kind of responsibility or
know-how.
smart thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have some wonderfully stupid news today. News where I just point and laugh at companies. You guys remember last episode when we told you about how Ubisoft is including really annoying DRM on the PC version of Driver San Francisco? That's the anti-piracy software that requires a constant internet connection to play the game, and in the process, everyone gets mad. In a recent interview with PC Gamer, a Ubisoft rep commented on the matter, saying that they saw, and I quote, "a clear reduction in piracy of our titles which required a persistent online connection. And from that point of view, the requirement is a success." Okay, so it reduced piracy, but how many people want to purchase another game with such an irritating anti-theft device? I mean, if people want to pirate something, they will. I know I saw a handful of comments last episode from people who rather loudly said that they did play illegal copies of Assassin's Creed. I mean, obviously piracy isn't something we're trying to condone here, but it exists. It's a thing that people do. And including, DRM, it might prevent people from stealing a game, but it doesn't really sound like this is making a whole lot of people want to go out and buy it. I mean, I'm a pretty serious PC gamer, Ubisoft. I don't know if I want to play a game that requires a constant internet connection just to play single player. I'm a PC. I mean, what if my mom needs to use the phone?
No, you'd have to.
And I have to turn off the modem.
That would be a serious problem.
In the modem. Anyway, if I'm online, I got a better game to play than Driver San Francisco. It's called Flirting with Girls on Facebook.
And by flirting with girls on Facebook, you mean posting pictures of cats to your girlfriend's Facebook wall, right?
Well, my cat Brinks, she did this.
Okay, shut up about your cat, Max.
She eats plastic wrap.
I have footage that people need to see. A gameplay trailer specifically. Here we've got the Metro Last Light demo trailer that THQ was showing off at E3. For those of you who don't know, don't blame yourselves. A lot of people haven't heard of this or aren't very familiar with the series, but Last Light is the sequel to Metro 2033, which is a post-apocalyptic survival horror game based on the 2002 book by Dmitry Glukhovsky. The game isn't scheduled to come out until 2012, but THQ released the first half of its E3 demo on the internet a couple of weeks ago, and now we have the second half available for viewing with your eyeballs. The trailer comes with the disclaimer in the very beginning saying, quote, "This video is actual gameplay footage from pre-alpha code," and in it depicts a scene in the game where Khan and Artyom, the main character, try to discreetly infiltrate a Nazi camp. Khan ends up opening fire in the middle of the crowd, and then it shows them trying to escape the camp right before they reach the door to the outside, and it's very dramatic and cliffhanger, suspenseful, blah, blah, blah. Not overly revealing as far as gameplay goes, but it's nice to see a little bit of change up from the typical shooter scenarios. Although killing Nazis certainly isn't a new gameplay concept or anything, but still, I think this was a title that flew under a lot of people's radars, and it's starting to look good, things are shaping up.
If that's a pre-alpha build, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That looks very pretty. Also, I like that it's a tunnel full of Nazis. That's kind of awful. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like a terrible place to be. If you could be on a tropical carnival vacation or in a tunnel full of Nazis, like which...
Well, I'd rather be with Nazis than like dinosaurs or
Really?
like irradiated cockroaches.
I don't know. Nazis are pretty evil. I'm just going to put that out there.
but-
What if it was Nazi dinosaurs? Anyway, while Ubisoft is making the PC crowd mad, the fine folks over at Devolver Digital just won the hearts of a whole bunch of nerds. In a press release for their newest game, Serious Sam 3 BFE, Devolver Digital has canceled the release of their new digital download platform, Crundle. The company's CFO and quote-unquote massage parlor enthusiast, Fork Parker, commented on this. "I think we could have revolutionized how I make a shitload of money, but the reality is Steam is an amazing digital platform. That's where we want to distribute our top-tier titles like Serious Sam 3 BFE to generate the kind of revenue it takes to buy things like velvet-covered jet skis. Holy crap, did I just invent those." Crundle, the canceled platform, was planned to have some features not seen anywhere else. These included pre-order bonuses like in-game nachos and undetonated Cold War munitions, free-to-play for $50 games, which are free-to-play after you buy them for $50, and free Portuguese adult films with purchases of $200 or more. Fork Parker closed with the remark, "I guess consumers could also sign up for EA's Origin service if they are into 10-year-old train simulators, but you can be sure those sons of bitches will never deliver in-game nachos." You hear that, Ubisoft? That's how you write a motherfucking press release! So the moral of the story is Serious Sam 3 is coming to Steam, and you should buy it because Fork Parker is the best thing to happen to PR since free t-shirts.
Entertaining PR emails do provide a nice change up from the dry shit we get. Because we get like tons of emails a day, like at least 50 on our Destructoid account, so it's ridiculous. And
That's so tiring.
It's nice to read something like that, and you know who else is good at stuff like that?
Aubrey Norris,
the PR chick over at Deep Silver. She's good.
No, she's great. She sends emails where she's like, "Yo, Dead Island's awesome," and then she, says a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah, it's like she's always cracked out when she writes them, which I find endlessly entertaining.
Aubrey Norris, we love you. You're a minx and a champion, and I wish you were my co-host instead of that battle axe over there.
Yeah, well, I wish that guy was my co-host. You behind the camera. You come over here now.
Kara, read the news.
Okay. A few weeks ago, I talked about Operation Rainfall, the massive fan movement devoted to getting Nintendo of America to localize The Last Story, Pandora's Tower, and Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. So last we heard, Nintendo had pretty much no plans to localize any of it, and the project was considered pretty much a failure. Fast forward 3 weeks from then, and now we have Operation Moonfall, the latest spin-off with only one wish, to get Majora's Mask on the 3DS. Eiji Aonuma, one of the key developers in the Zelda series, recently told Nintendo Power magazine that if fans make enough noise, Majora's Mask might just go the way of Ocarina of Time and get a full remake for the 3DS. So if you want to see that happen, feel free to email Nintendo directly. You can do that at nintendo@noa.nintendo.com. Or you can keep an eye on zeldauniverse.net. They're the ones kind of spearheading the whole effort, and I'm sure they're going to have constant updates as well as a petition that you can sign. So go check it out.
Yeah, petition.
That would be kind of cool, Always looking for more cool 3DS
Cast
games.
your vote, and if you get majority rule, you might... Oh, boy.
Go on.
So it looks like Gears of War is going to be a board game pretty soon.
Aha, yeah, very funny.
No.
What, do you have some photoshops of
No,
something?
it's serious. That's the story I was going to do.
Okay, that can't be true.
But they're making a
No.
Gears of War board game.
You
That's
know what,
actually
Max?
a thing.
I've got some 3DS news if you want to talk about that instead, because it's cool.
Fine.
In fact, you know what? Why don't you read a sponsor first, and then we'll talk about that.
Fine. I don't get to make my stupid jokes. HostGator can get your blog or website up and running in minutes with plans starting at just $3.96 a month. You get 24/7 support and access to website building tools with over 4,000 templates. They will even migrate your current site for free. Their servers are 130% powered by wind energy, not to mention they offer unlimited disk space and bandwidth, a 45-day money-back guarantee, and $100 Google AdWords credit to market your site. For Revision 3 viewers, HostGator is offering 25% off your order or your first month free, so just go to HostGator.com and enter the code Destructoid at checkout.
So unless you've been living under a rock, then you probably heard in the news that the 3DS is going to be lowering in price on August 12th, all the way down to $170, which is kind of outrageous.
No one tells me anything.
I know. You should read the internet more often. This is obviously good news for people like me who haven't bought a 3DS yet and are maybe kind of still on the fence about buying one, but it's also got a lot of people upset. Shocking news. Specifically, those people who paid $250 for it when it first came out. Nintendo anticipated that people might be upset, so they crafted up a package of 20 free games for the early ambassadors, which is what they're calling the people who bought the 3DS at full retail price back when it was cool. So the ambassadors are going to get a collection of 10 free NES games before they go public on the eShop. There's a list of them right there. They're also going to get exclusive access to 10 Game Boy Advance titles sometime before the end of the year that apparently will not be made available to the general public, just the ambassadors.
Oh, the ambassadors.
Yeah. So that's exciting, I guess. As shitty as that prize package is, I'd like to remind everyone that Nintendo did not hold a gun up to your head and force you to pay $250 for a piece of machinery that was very obviously worth much less than that. So even with Nintendo's promises to make the eShop awesome, they still delayed it for months, and then it came out and sucked and nothing was on it. But people still went out and bought 3DSs anyway, and now they're complaining about how Nintendo owes them for it. Come on. Isn't this a little bit ridiculous? What are your thoughts on this, Max? You think people are deserving of, you know, penance?
I don't know. I think that this is a good price drop easily, but like, they're just, I try not to think about what Nintendo is thinking, because it's a little bit backwards.
It often does not make sense. Like, what about the games that they got?
Okay, I'll talk about the games, because I like the games. Of the free games that Nintendo is giving the ambassadors, a couple of them did catch my attention. You know, not enough to go out and pay 250 bucks for a 3DS, but okay, first of all, there's Yoshi's Island. If for some reason you've never played this game, it's probably my favorite Mario game. You play as Yoshi, the dinosaur, and you gotta babysit Mario, who is a screaming baby, and then a witch tries to kidnap him, and then you can eat watermelons, and you can spit seeds at guys like a machine gun, and then you can also get fire melons and ice melons. There are a lot of melons in the game. It's really fun. Then there's Ice Climber, which is one of my favorite games just on principle. That's one of the old NES games. You're an Eskimo, and you run around and you collect carrots and eggplants and you hit seals with a hammer. To my knowledge, this is the only video game about clubbing seals, which is really funny to me. I'd love to see like a gory modern remake that's just a really accurate portrayal of the fur trade. You know, you just run around clubbing them seals. That video doesn't actually have any seal clubbing in it, which is just
depressing.
kind of.
I don't want to play that.
Yeah, I want to see like I want to see like Epic Games' Ice Climber. It'd be incredible. Just like seals, I hate seals. Just abusing animals. Anyway, there's also Metroid Fusion, which I never actually played, but it looks a lot like Super Metroid, which is one of my all-time favorite games. And there's an evil clone version of Samus in it, which is like the best thing ever because I wish Samus was my girlfriend. Here's a picture of a girl dressed up like a Playboy bunny, Samus, which you should look at because I hate to break it to you, but Tara's about to talk about financial number statistics or something.
Okay, finance. So even though I'm personally stoked for the price drop, it is considerably steep for a piece of hardware that's been out for, what, less than 6 months now? Like maybe 4 or 5? Normally this would be kind of a red flag that something's not quite right in Nintendo's books, and sure enough, in the last 48 or so hours since the news about the price drop broke, we've been hearing a lot of negative financial news about Nintendo. First off, Bloomberg reported that the 3DS is now running at a loss, meaning the manufacturing and overhead costs are now greater than what the system is actually selling for. Nintendo CEO Satoru Iwata said that the price cut was, quote, necessary in order to perform better fiscally in the future. Nintendo released the financial results from their first quarter a couple of days ago, and that's not too great either. Net sales are down 50% from last year's first quarter, totaling a loss of 25.5 billion yen for the company. A measly 710,000 3DS units were sold in those 3 months, along with about 4.5 million games, which seems like a lot, but comparatively, it's really not. And analysts are now reporting that Hiroshi Yamauchi, the former president of Nintendo and current owner of 10% of the company, could stand to lose up to $300 million because of the loss that they've experienced so far. Satoru Iwata even announced that he himself would be taking a 50% pay cut and implementing pay cuts of 20 to 30% for several of the other directors and executives, which actually you don't see happen very often, so good on them. Iwata explained, quote, "We decided that if we take brave measures now, there's high likelihood that many players can enjoy the Nintendo 3DS in the future." So I have to say, I do obviously think that this will massively increase the amount of 3DSs that people purchase. Like, even I'm seriously wanting now, because it's the same price now as a DSi XL.
Yeah. It's a smart move on their part in that sense. I mean, I don't know about business-wise, but like businessly. But it's, you know, if someone has a console they can afford, they're more likely to buy games for it. And now it does kind of become a toss-up, especially for parents buying stuff for kids. Are you going to drop, you know, $250 on a Vita, or are you going to get your kid the cheaper one?
Well, now is a more important time than ever for them to start creating good games, because now that's going to be their main source of income for their 3DS. So
they should make some games for that thing.
You should get on that.
Anyway, it's Friday. I think we're done talking about percentages and units and implementing and Game Boys and whatever. We're supposed to talk about video games. And hey, speaking of video games, I got to go play Rage yesterday, and I even interviewed the president of id Software all by myself, but I'm not allowed to talk about that until next week, so you gotta stay tuned. In fact, if you haven't already, you should subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, why haven't you?
Do that. What's wrong with you, dude? What's up with that? Anyway, also follow us on Twitter at DToid Show. I think you can like us on Facebook. And then you could follow us on Twitter personally.
Tara Longest.
Tara Longest, and then there's me, Max Scoville, and I'm probably more fun than those updates about. She talks about like salads and like hip hop. It's boring.
I've never tweeted about salads.
Have a good weekend, you
Have
wieners.
a good weekend, guys.
We love you.
Take it easy.